Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's once again Friday night on the bus, of course, as always. You know what that means? It's time for the Friday feeling on the bus. Yeah, looking forward to another round of SPFL action for Celtic. Oh boy, it is getting right down to the nitty gritty now. There are just 6 games to go in the league, and only wins will do. We have no room for error here. The margins are so fine right now after last week's result, the draw in the Glasgow Derby. We now find ourselves in a position where win 6 and we win the title. So the mission is very clear. And of course, it starts tomorrow against St Mirren at Celtic Park. So of course, here on the bus, we'll be looking forward to that game. And as you can see, I'm joined by my usual Friday night cohort. Of course, Canada's favourite Tim, the wise man of the bus, the beard of knowledge, is of course Liam Greenlaw. How you doing, Liam?
I'm doing great, Phil. Recuperating from just a really dismal week, you know. We'll talk about it, but my God, I didn't feel good after that game. I don't see it as the win everybody else saw, and we'll talk through some of that. But
the Rangers manager saw it as a win. Apparently, he said it was a good victory.
Mate, I mean, I know they changed the rules. It was like the next goal wins. When did they announce that? You know, it's like Philip, come on, he's starting to do the same way Michael Beale do. I mean, is it just us, or are they actually that unlikable? And that's just weird.
Not just us. Trust me, not just us.
Did they see Ange that way? I mean, Ange couldn't have come across that way. I mean, Rodgers can in a way. And we'll talk about him as well too. I don't think he managed that game very well.
No, we'll definitely get our say on that because we've not had a chance to yet. And of course, folks, if you're watching last week, you will remember that there were 3 of us on the screen. We were joined by one of the viewers, Michael Murphy, and good news, we didn't scare him off because he's come back to join us again this week. Hello again, Michael. How you doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. A bit of an eventful day, so gladly back in and working. I've got the old laptop working again. My new one wasn't working properly, so go with this one for this week. Then time for a new one next week.
Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. I'm glad to have you back on. Good to see you. But yeah, we'll just same as last week. Obviously, we'll have a wee look forward to the game. So it says at the top of the show, there's no room for error anymore. Every game, it's getting more and more intense as the weeks go by. But before, of course, we get into that, folks, I'll remind everybody to do all that good stuff. Of course, it helps the bus out, it helps out the channel massively. Hit that like button if you dislike button, whatever you like, because YouTube likes an active channel. That's all that YouTube cares about. So, of course, if you remember to do that, that'd be fantastic. Of course, you can get involved in our comment section tonight, like many people are doing already, and a lot of the regulars are in. I see Jim C, I see Smell the Glove, David Kelly, Danish, Gary Brown, Alex Forsyth. Yep, all the regulars. Oh, even Liam Greenlaw is in the chat as he's sitting there right there to my side. He's even in the chat as well. And of course, what else can you do? You can hit the subscribe button. Of course, and hit the bell notification. You'll be reminded when the bus is on the road. And of course, share the link to the Bhoycie Bus far and wide to obviously spread the word, spread the joy of the Bhoycie Bus, get into more Celtic fans' lives. And of course, head over to piesports.com and use that code BUS1888 to get your meatball marinara pies. I mentioned them last week. Oh man, fantastic. What a concept. Meatball marinara and a pie. But you can get all sorts of other pies are available there as well. You can get other ones if that isn't your thing. But you head over there, BUS1888, get 12.5% off your order. And with all that said and done, yeah, let's get on with it. Let's get into it. Because, yeah, we haven't been on, obviously, since last Friday. And there was a rather massive game. And I know it's maybe kind of a bit old hat now because we're nearly a week on from it. But there is still a lot of talking points. And we haven't had a chance to have a say on it. And, yeah, I said last Friday, I posed the question to the both of you. And going into last weekend, I still had the mindset that, you know, a draw doesn't change anything, still leaves us in some sort of control. I wouldn't have been against it, but it all depended on how the game would play out. 2-0 up at one point in the game, 3-2 up with, I'm going to say minutes to go, but after we did go 3-2 up, it turned out there was still about 13 or 14 minutes of play to go due to all the stoppage time. But even at that, Liam, it's disappointing not to come away with the 3 points when you find yourself, especially 2-0 up in a game and cruising. Let's be honest, Liam, cruising at half-time. They didn't lay a glove on us in the first half. Why are we not a 90-minute team? This is not the first time this season we've seen a good first half performance and a second half performance where we just go into our shell. It's quite a worrying trait that we've got this season.
I don't know, is it players know that no matter what they do, they're coming off after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and so it's like, well, I'm getting subbed off anyway, so, just try not to get injured or just the concentration lapse, knowing that, okay, well, I'm tired, or you just sort of give in to fatigue, building for a big finish because you're not going to be part of it. I mean, that's just one observation, right? But I don't know. I don't like the way I thought the changes really hurt us, and I thought Callum coming on would probably be the best thing to shore up the defence and get the experience on there. But he didn't look fit, and if he didn't look fit, that's a manager's decision. So you could have put Forrest on for that sort of experience of how to kill a game. So there was options there. Again, you just got to be creative. That's the thing. It's like these 60-minute things where we can only play to 60 minutes and then it's subs. I don't understand with that. That's a new concept to us. We don't press that hard that we need to change the players at that point because there's guys that play 90 minutes every week that just come back for injury. Greg Taylor and Ali Johnson, 90 minutes every week, no matter how they play now. And you got other players that are probably better that are getting waiting to just get taken off or just trying to still get into the game at that point. Yeah, I thought Kyogo was really poor. He was invisible most of that match. And again, we had a lot of the ball, but the referee slowed down a lot of our play, and that's the other thing that was disappointed with was the referee in there. Like when you look at some of those, somebody posted, I put it on our WhatsApp when we posted like the fouls they got in the first compared to us. I mean, you had Connor Golson getting a nick on his ankle. Well, he stole the ball actually, and then just jumps on the ball and grabs it before the referee can even blow the whistle. And at that point, I'm watching the game and I'm thinking, all right, we came out exactly what we think we should have done, like, firing right away. As I said, like shocking, all right, overawe them. We came out to do that, and then beaten in a way, just systemically went through and just managed to find faults and everything, break it down at every point, and then giving them fouls. And it was so many fouls for a team that had so much of the ball. And I don't understand the way he was refereeing. So yeah, it was really disappointing for me. I thought we had that game won. I really, really did. And so,
I think we all did.
So can you see us celebrating a draw? And the other thing before Mike, sorry, I'm on a rant.
Sorry, go ahead. Rant away.
The amount of players. So you seen Scales going after TikTok Todd after the game, right? But when the camera was on, including our manager, how many were laughing and having a great, but doing the slapping in the back stuff? I saw Greg Taylor laughing away, so Alistair Johnson, and then our manager as well slapping and so Clement in the back and that, and all happy in that when our dugout's been assaulted by missiles and that shit all the game. And yeah, I don't get it. I think we looked just as much as slagging them for going over the top. Far too many people in our team were too happy with getting away 2 points in injury time. I'd be fucking raging if I was on that part with the guys laughing it up with Rangers players after that. You lost 2 points.
Yeah, I think with the way the game planned out, as I said last week, I would have been okay with a draw, but it just depends how the game goes. How if we get a late equaliser, obviously it would feel like we've got away with one there. But yeah, for us to be in the positions that we were last week, half time 2-0, cruising our way to victory. Second half fell apart, but to get that late goal, you're like, oh, come on, we've got to see it out. And I say, regardless of there was still 13, 14 minutes still played in the game, got to see it out. There was a lot of routine mistakes made in the build-up to that third goal. But Michael, what about yourself? What was your feelings after all of that last week? Ultimately, though, we are still in a position, like I said, 6 wins, we win the title. But obviously, it's still a bitter one last week after the way we sort of threw it away.
It's definitely, I mean, see, at the point after the game, if we just look at it for like position stuff and what we've got left for the season, it is still a strong position, but to go and come out in the second half, 2-0 up, playing the way we were, all right, the penalty was shocking. We've gone about that all day, right? But even after that, the way we collapsed was like, what's happening here? You could literally see it happening in front of you. Like the heads just went down and players look kind of shell shocked. Is it if we don't know how to cope with this? And like you said, Phil, it's not been the first time this season that's happened to us second half. We look a totally different team from the first half quite a lot this season. I don't know what's been said at half time, and I don't know why we can't see out 90 minutes. It's been baffling me all season, and like the penalty, like I said, was a bad one, but to get that goal in the 91st minute, like even just like crowd the box, clear your lines, and just sit tight, be compact for those last few minutes and see it out no matter what. And to concede for that position, like, nah, it shouldn't happen. And like Liam said, though, the players after the game kind of laughing and joking about it. Like, we'd have had like more or less won if we'd hung on for a couple of minutes.
Yep.
I'll be honest, I was livid after the game. Just the way it just seemed a total collapse the second half for me. Like a lot of the players' heads went down and started dropping back deeper and deeper and didn't want to get on the ball and stuff like that. And like, nah, it shouldn't happen again like that, especially for that position. Like, I thought we were excellent in the first half. Like, I was genuinely surprised how good they were in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said the week before, like if we keep the ball and keep our composure, then I think we can take sting at the game, like I said. But to go a goal up, and I thought we still imposed themselves in the game after it. And we deserved to go 2-0 up. And we could have had 3 or 4 by that point at half time. Then we came out like a totally different team in the second half. And I think the penalty, not a penalty, but the warning signs were there. They were attacking. We didn't know what we could deal with. A lot of players went into their shell. As soon as we conceded the penalty, right? So we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do now. And in the end, like, we're holding on for a good bit, even before we scored the third one. And then we scored the third one. It's like a couple of minutes, hold out, just crowd the box, do what you need to do, clear your lines, don't even break forward. Just clear your lines, do what you need to do, and see the game out. And then when they scored the third one, as Liam said, it felt like a defeat to me. But I wouldn't say about a draw at all. It was like, we have literally chucked it away there to be in that good a position and still concede. Like, I was angry after it. I'll be perfectly honest. I wasn't happy for a good while after it. So we've got St Mirren at home this week. We've still got a good run in. We can still go and win it, but need to turn up for 90 minutes between now and end of the season. We've only got 6 games left, is it?
Yep, 6 to go.
6 games left and 4 at home. So if we can't see this, if we can't see this out now and just turn up 90 minutes every game for 6 games between now and end of the season, then we don't deserve it. Like, it's as simple as that. If we can do that for the remaining 6 games, I don't think it's a lot to ask a Celtic team to turn up for 90 minutes for 6 games. How much is at stake? So we'll see it start tomorrow. But I just couldn't shake that feeling all week, like disappointment that we couldn't hold out from that winning position a couple of minutes ago. That was overriding the feeling for the whole week for me.
No, that's fair enough. And with the 6 games ahead, obviously you just like to think that with Brendan and the players, they know what's on the line in terms of team talks and stuff. How much motivation do you need? You're totally right to say this, Michael. I don't think it's much to ask of Celtic to go and win these remaining 6 games. I know there's people have pointed out in the chat about our form this season doesn't suggest that we can win 6 in a row. Why not? You know, we are better than these teams. We are better than Kilmarnock, because you're looking at what St Mirren tomorrow. We're going to have to play Hearts, Rangers, obviously, St Mirren again, Kilmarnock, and the final spot is between Dundee and Hibs. Obviously, there is a game pending out there that will help decide who gets that 6th spot with Dundee in the fight for it, but that's another story for another time in the world of Scottish football. It keeps getting put back and put back. But realistically, 6 games to go. Surely, God, the player, they know what's on the line here. And hopefully they just get down to business. And I think the fixture, which is standing out to a lot of people, is going to be Kilmarnock away, is going to be the one that's going to be a real sticky one for us. Because as weird as it sounds, Rangers at home, I'm not as worried about playing them at home. I think in every game that we've played them this season, other than that second half there, last week, we've been the better team. I think we've held them really well at Ibrox in the first game of the season. I think the one at the New Year, other than stoppage time, when Rangers got a goal just going into stoppage time, the last 10 minutes or so were quite sticky for us, but I felt that day it was 2-0 at that point in time before they got their goal back. Could have been whatever we wanted it to be that day. And so that first half at Ibrox last week, we were excellent. But yeah, it's the performances against the Kilmarnocks of this world this season that have been the problem. And yeah, we're probably going to have to go to Rugby Park in the next few weeks. But again, we know what's on the line. You just like to think the players just go out there and just blow them away, because we are better than these teams. We really are when we want to be. We showed it last week. But yeah, in terms of last week, so there was a few things obviously that did happen. Callum McGregor coming on, as you said to email earlier on, that was, well, that decision was interesting. Maybe should Bernardo have got the nod before Calmac? And second goal, it was a bit of a hospital ball that he played across the park and it got intercepted. And then his fate would have it, he's the one that tries to block the shot and it deflects off him into the net. And I'm like, oh man, a pure comedy of errors, sadly, for Callum McGregor in that one. They say Yang, people are talking about Yang's performance and whatnot, and how the last goal, the Matondo goal, he doesn't show him it wide enough and he's able to get in there, bend it in on his right foot. And it's like, I think somebody's put this in our group, Liam, I'm pretty sure, that before Yang came on, you could see him like almost hyperventilating on the sideline. And I was like, well, that's a worrying sign, because Dave, you signed for Celtic. These are the fixtures. This one against Rangers is like the fixture of fixtures. It's like, this is what you sign up for. It's like, if you can't handle this, then I don't know if that played too much into it. I don't know really, but obviously he's got to do a bit better there. But ultimately, you know, Michael said, just clear your lines. The whole team just had to do their job for another 10 minutes or so, just clear the lines and whatnot. But we did see, there has been examples of it, Liam, in recent times at Ibrox, where it's just fine little margins. Because I go back to the game a year ago at New Year when, funny enough, Maeda scored really early in that game as well. We ended up drawing 2-2, but again, we were really comfortable for the early part of the game. And it just takes something to just swing the momentum. And obviously that day it was Joe Hart just like playing a terrible kick out. Ryan Kent hit the post from it. But that second half, I remember seeing my dad watching it last week when it was like, they're going to come out going for it in the second half because they're 2-0 down. They've got to throw everything at us. And I felt for like the first 10 minutes or so, we were containing them okay. But after that penalty decision, yeah, we just completely lost everything, lost our composure, the lot. And of course, they scored again right after it, but then VAR intervened. So we got, that one was a fortunate one. And to be fair, it was a foul. John Beaton did see it in real time as well, because if you see the replay, he's actually right next to the incident as it happens. But of course, he didn't see. They had to have VAR intervene there. But yeah, I mean, that after that penalty decision, and just, yeah, we were just all over the place. But again, just a kick in the teeth where you take the lead with a few minutes to go, and yeah, just couldn't see it out. But we move on. There's nothing we can do about it now, Liam. And tomorrow, St Mirren are coming to town, a team that this is their second season in a row. They've qualified for the top 6, so they're on a wee bit of decent form these days under Stephen Robson. A bit of a tricky team. They did beat us last season in a game under Ange. But this season, we've managed to deal with them, thankfully. But yeah, tomorrow, we're meeting at Celtic Park and probably need to play them again. It will be in Paisley. But when it comes to the team selection tomorrow, we've got some injury problems to discuss, because usually the team's sort of picking itself these days. But the first one that stands out is in the back line. We've learned that Liam Scales is going to be injured. And Liam, after the way he played last week at Ibrox, maybe it's still the worst thing that Liam Scales out, because I felt that he was one of the dodgier performances last week. A few of his passes out from defence. And don't get me wrong, the manager tells them to do this at times as well, where he's very determined to just, keep passing out. Ironically, though, our opening goal last week came for a long ball, where Joe Hart just punted it long, and it happened to just fall kindly into Maeda's path when Tavernier tried to clear it. But yeah, obviously last week its time scales looked really shaky under pressure. But the big question is this the time for Nawrocki or Lagerbielke to get the nod? Or will Stephen Welsh reappear and get a game? Because it's always felt like Stevie Welsh, Liam, has been getting games ahead of Nawrocki and Lagerbielke. I would say Nawrocki should get a chance here. I think he should. I think he's shown enough in the games that he's played that he's a decent enough defender for a game against St Mirren at home as well.
I mean, that's the problem. We're in April now, Phil, and we still have no idea what sort of player he is, or Lagerbielke. Last time we saw Lagerbielke, he was scoring in the Champions League, or maybe came on once after that. But that's the thing. we've not had Rodgers has done such a bad job of managing the players and the time and all that. Yeah, we've not seen these guys even in cup games or that, and so I wouldn't be surprised if he went with Welsh. Like, he seems like he has a real something to grind. Rodgers with these two boys and whatever it is in training and that, and Welsh has been his go-to guy to go to before, and you never know. He knows the Scottish game, and it might be the influence of John Kennedy and that as well too. You know, they've been with Welsh a long time and feel that he might best suit what we're trying to do right now. I don't agree with it. I'd go with New Rocky or Lagerbielke. I'd like to see more of Lagerbielke, but you know, we've just not seen any of that. This has been really frustrating, the part with Rodgers, the fact that even though Scales was in there and sort of as they're settled, you know, other centre back, you know, we've never been truly convinced that we don't have better sitting on the bench because we've not seen them. And so, and Scales has played okay. You know, I've not seen anything for Welsh to come in that says he could take that job away from him. But I don't know, maybe he's more of a go-to for the right side, you know, and New Rocky will come in be more better with the left side now that Cal's back. That might be the difference. So, yeah, I'd like to see New Rocky or Lagerbielke, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Welsh.
Yeah, that's sadly wrong. Michael, correct me if I'm wrong here, but and again, William just said we don't know enough about Lagerbielke because he's barely got a game. Am I right in saying when we signed him, he's a left-sided centre back? Am I right in saying? Did I imagine that or?
No, I'm sure he was. He was Swedish Player of the Year last year playing left centre back. So to me, it's got to be him. I think I don't know about Dorowski, but he's just always injured. Doesn't seem as if he can get a string of weeks training together at any point in the season. He's always out for weeks at a time. You know, I don't know what's happened with Lagerbielke. He was just frozen out after the final game for whatever reason. Wasn't even in squads a lot of the time. He's supposed to go to Lecce in January, obviously, on loan, and that got pulled at the last minute. But even after that, he still wasn't in a lot of squads and was struggling. So I don't know what's going on with him, but definitely can't be Welsh for me. Welsh is nowhere near good enough for Celtic. He's proven it time and time again. So at the time we just like get it over the line this season and just let him go. But he's on good as well. To be fair, he's been all right. He's done us a turn, but now and again stuff. But he's never going to be Celtic class. And not a player he can rely on for running for me. He's still got too many mistakes in him. He's not dominant enough. To me, he seems to get bullied a lot of the time as well. But he's not. I know he's small. But he's small for a centre back, but he's still got good stats on him, so he shouldn't be getting brushed off the ball away. He does a lot of time. Which has always surprised me, but we'd definitely go in the Brodsky or Lagerbielke. Lagerbielke could win against Livingston, I'm sure. I know it's not a great barometer, to be honest. We're winning that game anyway, but he didn't put a foot wrong the time he was on the park, so just give him a shot and see how he gets on.
Yeah, he's only had a couple of fleeting sub appearances, hasn't he? And he's been handled. The management of him's been handled terribly. To very publicly sort of say, yeah, he's surplus to requirements and allow him to pretty much be at the airport essentially to get called back with the whole no, we need you here because injury cover. We have had some centre back injuries since then, but still Stevie Welsh will find his way into the team. And one thing about Welsh as well is I've always found whenever he plays, there's always a moment in the game where he's down, like a prolonged period, injured in some capacity. Either he shakes it off or sometimes he goes off injured, and it's like he seems very, very injury prone. But hey, story of our season, it feels the whole squad have had all sorts of problems with injuries. But now tomorrow I would definitely say Nawrocki, Lagerbielke possibly, but not Welsh. Not Welsh for me at this stage. So you paid what, 4 million, 3.5 million for Lagerbielke, 4 million for Nawrocki. It's like, come on, man. At this stage, I'm saying, but in April now, we still really don't know enough about them. It's quite sad that that's the case, but for me, it has to be one of them gets the nod next to Carter Vickers. At least he's there, because that is the most crucial defender in our backline. If Carter Vickers is there, you can feel a bit safer anyway. So whoever it is, it's paired up with tomorrow. And also, it's St Mirren at home. We really should be able to just breeze past them. Of course, Brendan will treat them with the respect that they deserve, but ultimately we should be looking at what's on the line now to get past them. Now, moving on to the midfield. Huge talking point. Massive talking point, obviously, last week. And there's a bit of a dilemma. Does Callum McGregor start tomorrow, Liam, or does he feature at any point during the game?
Honestly, the way I thought he was out for the rest of the season. I've seen some weird article today that said his season could be done, but I wouldn't risk him tomorrow. I mean, put him on at the end, but that's only if he's fit. If he's not trained all week, don't be throwing him into a game like that, to see if he can get his fitness that way. I mean, let's see how it is. See how many goals would come up. If we can build up a lead against St Mirren tomorrow, which we should be able to, let's make that decision then, see how he is, But I think we've got to treat him the same way we were treating any of the other guys coming back for a serious injury. Just get him in when it suits us, know when it suits him. We've still got points to win, right? So I don't think gambling in that way is going to help us in any way if he's no fit. So there's one for the doctors and no one for the coaches. If he's fit enough to play, get him in the park. If he's not, don't play him. Get the other guys out there, get them playing, get them going. Iwata should be enough to handle St Mirren.
Yeah, well, was all right. Last week I thought Hatate played well, and I thought Riley was looking sharp. And I mean that penalty, where's that been all season? Although it'll be his turn now for the next few until he misses one. But man, how gallus was that down at the Copeland Road end as well, just to do a wee Panenka penalty down the middle. Fantastic. Loved that stuff. But yeah, I thought he had a good game overall last week, and that's what we need from him going forward for the next 6 games, 6 cup finals essentially. Plus, we still do have the Scottish Cup in amongst this as well. So we still have the semi-final with Aberdeen and a potential actual Scottish Cup final coming up. So you're looking at overall potential 8 games still to go, but 6 league games, and with no time for passengers now. But say last week, the midfield, you'll find Bernardo tomorrow. That's where it's going to. When it comes to the midfield, I wouldn't risk Callum McGregor tomorrow, Michael. I wouldn't. If we don't need to risk him at all, then I'd be quite happy just if he stays off the park. If he's not in the matchday squad, because again, I think we should have enough to deal with him. Because if a Water starts, Hatate and O'Reilly, and you've got Bernardo who's an option on the bench, or maybe Bernardo starts instead of a Water, one or the other. I think again those options, Michael, they're sufficient enough to get through this game tomorrow.
Yeah, there should be. I caught a bit of Rodgers' press conference earlier. The way he was talking, it was like McGregor should have been nowhere near it, but it was his force of personality. Basically, he was insisting to Rodgers that he wants to be part of it, and being on at some point. And I think Rodgers was thinking, get him on. He can at least him being there as an influence can calm the team down. But I think we saw pretty quickly he was nowhere near fit at all. Like I don't even think he was 50% fit. The way he was playing, it's like, I think we should beat St Mirren quite comfortably. Like, no disrespect to them, but if we can't beat St Mirren at home comfortably, what's going on? But I think we will. I would go with Iwata, O'Reilly, and Hatate, same as last week. And Hatate lasted 60 minutes last week. I thought he played brilliant last week anyway. So give him more minutes in the park again, and that bodes as well for running as well. But if possible, I'll just leave McGregor this week altogether. I wouldn't even put him on the bench just for his own good. Just give him another week of training and see how he is next week. And hopefully another week under his belt, he'll come onto the park in better condition and be a better influence. I don't think it benefited him at all coming on last week. Like, he just woefully short of fitness. I think you could tell that pretty quickly the way he was moving and stuff. He just wasn't right. You know what I mean? So I'll give him another week of training and then just see where we are with him for the following week. Then that gives him a bit more time as well. They should beat St Mirren at home, realistically. So go with the same midfield as last week for me. But then I thought Bernardo was all right when he came on as well. So
yeah, same.
That's 4 we've got. Should be able to deal with St Mirren. So I'll just go with that. Same as last week for tomorrow.
It's ironic when you look at it last week with the situation we found ourselves in. McGregor was coming on. I think every Celtic fan was probably like, yes, this is the move. This is the right move here, because you would expect that he would come on and show up. But yeah, he was just, if you're unfit, you're unfit. And see that pass that he tried to play, I believe, to Yang that just got intercepted. And as luck would have it, he happens to be the one that deflects off on the way in. I was like, oh man, he can't buy a break at all with that goal. But yeah, if we can avoid using him tomorrow and allow him to recover a bit more, then that would be ideal. Also, Graham Tyrrell, slapping the wrist for you in the chat, you naughty boy. I keep getting chinned in the comments after the show every week because I purposely bring up a certain left back apparently to get a reaction out of Liam, even though Liam has been very consistent in his views on said left back, going back to when Ange was the manager. But yeah, Graham Tyrrell was asked, play Taylor in midfield and make him captain. Thoughts, Liam? Naughty boy, Graham. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to stir the pot. We're not going to rise to it. We're going to move on from that one. We won't even entertain that idea at all. It'll be Carter Vickers we were in the captaincy. And if Greg Taylor doesn't play at left back, who would play at left back? We haven't got one. We got rid of Bernabei. We sent him packing, and Mitchell Frame, ironically, isn't in the picture, funny enough. And Liam Scales is injured tomorrow, and as we keep on saying, no matter how many times we keep suggesting it, it looks like Liam Scales will never ever get a game at left back under Brendan Rodgers. So there's only one guy going to play at left back. It's going to be Greg Taylor. We've hammered home the point enough. So yes, for the viewers out there that keep chinning me every week for allowing Liam to go, we're not going to do that this week. We're going to be calm. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to move on. That's it. He's going to play tomorrow. Case closed. Oh, no, wait, Liam wishes to speak. Go on, Liam.
First of all, Joey Barton. See, I read that Joey Barton quote. Honestly, I was shocked. It wasn't it.
Oh.
I see my name in the end of that. Like, oh, did I say that about him? You know, it's like, fucking hell. That's my Twitter. It's Greg Taylor's Greg Taylor. I'd love to see Tony Ralston get a game, even if it's just to get a run in for Alistair Johnson. Don't think he's covered himself well lately. So, I don't know, it has to be something that, like, the fact that those two are laughing and joking at the end of the game really, really annoyed me. That's it. That's all it is. I get standards for what I think Celtic players should be and all that. And those are two guys you can go back to many shows ago that just look that they're far too comfortable playing for a team like Celtic. And that's it. That's my problem. You know, that's it. And so I don't see what Greg Taylor adds to a team, and now I'm having a hard time seeing what Johnson's adding as well that Tony Ralston couldn't do, or it's not worth a game, because how are you going to get a message if you don't get dropped? We've got players competing for positions all over the park right now, but you get two of the weaker players getting that continually make mistakes, get 90 minutes a game. That's just not right to me, and I think it devalues your squad. In fact, how you look at each other as players and all that, and you know, and so I always thought that would be a problem. You don't get a happy team when you've got better players on the bench than the ones on the park, and that's always been my thing. And it's no big Taylor thing. It's, you know, it's an Ali Johnson thing now as well. It's just my outside fullbacks. Get it sorted.
Just fullbacks. Yeah, it's an area that must be treated with priority in the summer. I mean, there's plenty of areas in the Celtic team that should be treated with priority, and the board have to get that checkbook out. We have to be strengthening these areas, especially if we do win this league and we do go into the newly revamped Champions League. It's like we need to be improving the squad, and the fullback areas are definitely something. It would be astounding, absolutely astounding. I say it tentatively because it could be famous last words. If we finish the summer transfer window with only Greg Taylor as the only left back in the squad, surely to God that will not happen. The fact that we let Bernabei go out on loan suggests to me that he ain't getting a future at Celtic, so there must be options out there that we're going to look to add in that area. But once we get to the summer, I'm sure we'll do plenty of shows exercising that point and talking about the board and the transfer activity, or hopefully not lack of transfer activity. But yeah, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Now, let's talk about the Force, because an injury problem again has arisen. Michael, Dyson Maeda has a hamstring injury, so he could be out for a little bit, maybe even out for the rest of the season. I've seen some people on Twitter saying. But yeah, last week, Maeda, I felt, had a good game. I felt he caused Tavernier problems, which a lot of us expected that he would. He normally does. And I mean, the opening goal, I mean, come on, you know, he's in the right. It's the most Dyson Maeda thing that can happen, where it's just Tavernier's went. Eventually, when it happened in real time, my first thought was it was an own goal. I thought Tavernier had tried to play it back to Butland and had put too much zip on it and completely caught him out. But then, of course, you see the replay, you see it at the angle from in front of him where he's trying to hook it away, and Dyson Maeda sticks a leg out, and ends up zipping past Butland into the net. Off to a great start. And I felt overall in the game, I thought he was a star performer for us last week and what he did. But he's out for the foreseeable anyway. I say hopefully not for the full season, and he can still be back for a few games. But yeah, hamstring injury. So it could be a wee bit of blow there. So for the wingers tomorrow, Michael, what's your feelings on who's going to play?
No options, but is Palmer still injured?
No, he's back.
Palmer's back.
Is he back? Well, I'm going to be taking and playing him anyway, to be perfectly honest. Young's looked good. I think Young's looked good the last 3 weeks, but last week, I don't know what happened to him. Like, somebody said he looked like dead before he even came on. Looked terrified, but I thought he was good at Ibrox in the first game of the season. I thought he made a good contribution when he came on as well, but I would go with Yang anyway. Yang and Kuhn either side, I think. Or even Forrest. I know he's not really getting the legs anymore, but you think he'd have to deal with St Mirren at home if we need to play Kuhn on the left or Forrest on the left. Forrest had played on the left a good few times, but I just wouldn't have Palmer back in the team, to be perfectly honest. It just gives nothing for me at all. It's like one good game in 6. 1 out of 6 isn't good enough for me. And it always stats look good, but I remember we played Bucky Thistle when he was struggling to get by Bucky Thistle players. Like he's just not a Celtic player for me. He never will be. Like you can't don't have a legs in you or the trick to get by a Bucky Thistle player. Sorry, he's just not for me. I played the mind off of him. I would play Yang and Kuhn either side. I think. So I think Kuhn started looking good. I don't think he was great last week, but I think he's been good the last few weeks. And he was just getting rushed out the game last week, but I think he still showed something. He's got something there. And St Mirren at home, I think he'll turn up again. So I would play Yang on the left and him on the right. I just get the fear thinking of Palmer playing on the left again. I would play Yang and Kuhn the other side.
Well, the thing that might calm down your fears, I think, see Palmer coming back off a bit of an injury, a long-ish term injury, because he's been out for quite a wee while now. I don't know if he'll be thrown right back in there, but maybe in the match day squad, maybe come on at some point. But I wouldn't start him, because I don't think that, talking about the Callum McGregor stuff as well, similar to that, now is not the time to be playing players that are not fully fit. We need to have guys that are raring to go. And yeah, as I said at the top of the show, we need 90-minute performances here. We need guys that can put in a shift for the full game, because we've had a massive drop-off at times. So yeah, for me, I don't think Palmer will start, but in about the match day squad tomorrow on the bench, I can see that. And if we're winning at a comfortable position tomorrow, then by all means, I can see him coming on and getting some time there. But Liam, with our wingers this season, it's been mad. It's a bit like how our penalty taker system seems to work, where somebody will get a shot on penalties until they miss and then they're out. And our wingers this season have been the same, where somebody will be in a wee rich vein of form for 3 or 4 games, and they'll have a stinker or 2, and then they'll drop out. And it's a rotating door. And of course, the biggest conundrum, Liam, has been just the wing play in general at times this season has been so odd and inconsistent, where we play wingers in every game and don't really utilise them. Then other times we do, and it's all part of this microcosm of the way this season's went at times with some of the wing play especially. But yeah, tomorrow for you, Liam, Kuhn, does he keep his place after having a bit of a quiet one last week? I think realistically, we ain't got many options right now because of injuries, so I guess Kuhn has to start. And yeah, as Michael was saying, he did obviously mention a name there, James Forrest. Could a wild James Forrest appear tomorrow instead in the starting 11?
That's the name that jumped into my mind. You know, you got Roger Houghton as the best winger we have at the club. Why wouldn't you start your best winger in a must-win game? So we might not get the same press and all that we get with Maeda, but I mean, I think Kuhn can play on the left as well. Can he not? I think when we signed him, he could play both. But so you could see that. I mean, the other thing as well, like I thought Ida did really well when he came on. Rodgers loves him. Do you start Ida and you put Kyogo on the wing? You know, that was one of the options that we were all talking about before people started coming back for injury. Was like, well, maybe Kyogo needs to go there, because again, Kyogo's the only guy that's got the same sort of engine as Mike.
Oh, and Liam's been disconnected. Greg Taylor must have pulled the plug on him. Oh, here he comes. Greg Taylor pulled the plug on you, mate. He's obviously had enough of you.
Joey Barton, he hates me on it. Fuck him. Anyway, so Forrest, I think Forrest wouldn't let us down. Bring James Forrest on. If not, maybe there's a chance to give Kyogo a run out there. I don't think Palmer's the answer. You know, the fact he wasn't even in the squad, I don't think. I heard on one of the other podcasts that Rodgers is pissed up for going down to London or something like that. I don't know how long ago that is. It's Glasgow rumours that end up in Vancouver a month later or something, you know. The other rumour was Beckham buying into Celtic. And in the chat, want to know anything about that?
That sounds a bit of a crazy one, but as I mentioned it before we came on the show there, Liam. But I know he owns a team in the MLS right now, so maybe he's got a grand vision of having a portfolio of teams, like how the City Group have got a bunch of teams under their umbrella. Although it does feel like we're de facto members of the City Group at times, to be honest. But maybe with Mark Lawwell now disappearing, maybe that will go away. But yeah, I've not seen that rumour doing the rounds, but I'd say I don't know if it's been born out of frustration by fans wanting just the board out or whatever. They'll take any option they can, but I don't know if I could see that one happening. But I don't know, maybe William, somebody will say in the chat, maybe they've heard the same thing. But either way, we will. You're bringing up Kyogo as well. I've seen people in the chat talking about Kyogo and Ida. Good goal last week. Obviously, took it really well. Great celebrations, Michael, when he scored it, because you felt like. That's it, you know. That's it. I mean, say what a finish was for them just to have scored as well, and for us to go to the park and do that. I think it was Ian Crocker said 71 seconds later or something like that. So we've caught them sleeping, but yeah, obviously we ended up being the ones sleeping by the end of it. But tomorrow, when it comes to this, because St Mirren are one of these teams. They've got a few hammer throwers in their team, and I don't want to. I always feel like at times when we come up against a team like that, you always think, you need to play the big physical guy. But Kyogo's showing that he can do the business against these teams, you know, especially against teams like Livingston and stuff like that, who very much are hammer throwers. He seems to pop up with goals against them. So I still think that Kyogo will get the nod tomorrow. But Ida, again, I think he's shown in the time that he's been here, he's a great option to have when we need it. And yeah, so his goal last week, you know, the strength that he showed holding it up and then to finish it the way he did. So yeah, for me, you know, I'll just do his confidence the world of good. Just a shame that he hasn't written himself into, you know, Celtic folklore forever, scoring a winning goal in the fixture. But there'll still be another chance for that in a few weeks' time, I'm sure. Hopefully he will pop up, or whoever pops up, as long as somebody in a Celtic shirt does. But yeah, tomorrow for yourself, Michael, Kyogo or Ida to get the nod up front?
Kyogo still for me. I think he's going to be number one to the end of the season. He's been starting to hit form the last few weeks, Kyogo, and he's starting to look a bit like his old self again. He's looked unhappy for a lot of the season for me. But sometimes you watch him and he makes his runs. He doesn't get the ball, and you can see him visibly like throwing his hands up there and stuff like that, and just not sulking's the wrong words, but he always looked kind of down a lot of times rather than being infectious where he was last season. But I still Kyogo for me. But in fairness, he does done himself the world of good as well. I don't think he's let us down once either. So I'd be equally as comfortable with him coming on off the bench, but it would still always be a Kyogo for me. I just think the way he hassles defenders when he's on his game and he's happy, there's nobody like him in Scotland, and his finishing's lethal if you put him through. Then he's 9 times out of 10 he does finish it. So I would just go with him for running, to be honest. But Maeda, I've got no problems with him coming on whatsoever. I think he's done himself massive favours. The time he came in on loan, he's been brilliant for us. So no complaints with Maeda, but still Kyogo for me.
Liam, see in regards to Ida, do you think he's done enough for us to try and sign him in the summer?
I think if he came in a different way, you know, if he was signed at the beginning of the season and we'd actually chased him or something, and we knew a bit more about him and that, and he had potential that we've seen, and I think it'd be a lot different. But because it looked like a last-minute reaction signing for a guy not getting the game at Norwich, when our expectations were so much higher, that he didn't really have a chance to start. I mean, my vibe was negative towards him for the start as well, but it was more about the recruitment process than it was as him as an individual. From what he's shown, to come in and move, he's got all the attributes we liked about Giacomakis. You know, and so he looks like he's blended in well with the team. He looks like he's got more utility than just, you know, being a penalty box striker and that. But he does have that target man thing that we're missing, that we're hoping we would get out of O. You know, is there a big difference between him and O? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, maybe Ida just edges it. So I don't know. It depends how much money he's worth. I imagine he'll be worth loads of money because he's coming through a championship side and that. And
well, there's David Kelly saying he saw 8 million mentioned in January. I think I saw the same one, which is why there was not a buy option. If that's the case, absolutely no chance. Maybe for a couple of million, but we need far better. But 8 million, yeah, I think I've seen that branded around back in January time. And you're right, championship clubs are going to look for that. I think me and David were talking about this on a Sunday Blair, obviously, about the goalkeeper situation. A name that we always bring up is Angus Gunn, the Norwich goalkeeper. It's like he's obviously Scotland's number one keeper, but again, they would probably be looking for a fee around about 8-9. And that's where the English Championship is now. You know, the value of players have gone up there in recent years, and it's like that is probably what you're looking at for a player like that. Plus, Norwich, I believe, are in the playoff hunt, so there is a chance they could be a Premier League team again next season. And the way they've yo-yoed up and down between the top 2 divisions in England, you wouldn't bet against it. They are, I think their chairman said, even called them a top 26 team in England because they just fluctuate between the bottom of the Premier League and the top of the Championship every couple of seasons. So, yeah, that's going to obviously change the value. But, yeah, 8 million. I mean, we've spent 9 million on Odsonne Edouard before, but I don't think Ida is on the level of Edouard. I think Edouard was fantastic, and I can't see us spending 8 million on Ida. But I do think if we can get him for a better price than that, then I think he is worth getting in full time, definitely.
Aye, he's useful. I mean, he's done well. He's taken his opportunities well. He really, you know, he won a game for us. He won his 3 points with the 2 goals that he scored. Can't mind who it was, the header and then the other one inside the post when he came on. Motherwell in that game. And so, he's got a winner's mentality. He looks like he's comfortable playing with Celtic. I don't think Ibrox obviously didn't get to him at all. And so, you know, you look at that and I think it will only get better. But I agree with David Kelly and Mike and that, yourself. He's not an £8 million player, but I don't know. You try to be realistic now. What is an £8 million player? You know, we got Jota for 6 and, you know, we might get that for Mikey Johnson. Who knows? You know, we're rating Mikey Johnson as an £8 million player. You know.
Yeah, well, speaking of Mikey Johnson, I seen a headline tonight. Apparently, he was mentioned in the press conference today. You said you watched the press conference, Michael? Did they get brought up at some point, Mikey Johnson? By Brendan.
Mike.
Oh, Angus froze. Oh, but it's fine because basically what I was going to say was there was a mention today apparently in the press conference that Brendan Rodgers is, I don't know if it's his usual Brendan hyperbole, I don't know, saying he looks forward to welcoming Mikey back in the summer and said he needed to go out on loan, and it's like, yeah, he needs to go out on loan because he needs to get a move away. And I'd like to think with the form that he's showing that he will end up moving full time because he's done pretty well down there. I generally think his race is run. But yeah, I did see that headline today, or one of the sound bites or whatever from the press conference. Supposedly MJ was mentioned, and Brendan was given it I look forward to bringing him back in the summer, welcoming him back in the summer, and it's like, I don't know. Well, again, we'll cross that bridge when we come. We've got other things to worry about just now over the next 6 games and so on. So yeah, but we'll talk about what's looking like for the next few games because we're coming up to the post-split fixtures. So as I said earlier on, I was talking about the fixtures coming up. So Rangers, Hearts and St Mirren, they're all guaranteed. I think Kilmarnock are now guaranteed top 6 as well. And the final spot, Dundee and Hibs. And somebody else said in the chat that Motherwell can mathematically still get a top 6 spot. But if the fixtures are done correctly, so it works out that we get 19 home games, 19 away games, and we play each of these teams twice at home, twice away, the way it should work out in theory, let's say Hibs get the top 6, because right now we don't know who's going to get the 6th place. So let's say it's Hibs, for instance. That would mean the fixtures would be Rangers at home, we'd have Hearts at home and Hibs at home, we'd have St Mirren and Kilmarnock away. obviously Hearts have beat us at Celtic Park this season, unfortunately. So that's, but again, I keep saying to myself, with what's on the line, regardless of what they've done to us earlier in the season, you've got to think that the players will just go out there and blow them away. But that fixture list, say in terms of, does anything really worry you there, Michael, if that ends up being the 5 teams that we've got to play and it does work out, those are the home fixtures and those are the away ones? Does anything really worry you there?
Well, you said Kilmarnock obviously earlier. That would be a worry, but what I said earlier, see if we kind of go to Kelly, the 6 games to go and win, then what the players there for? This is the time. This is the time we're going to have a career here. Do they need to show it with 5 games to go or 6 games to go, whatever? But if you can go to place at Rugby Park when the league's on the line and get a result, because Kilmarnock, I don't know, they've done well this season, but we should be more than capable of beating them.
Yeah. Even
at Rugby Park. So no, I think it's all about us now, and who turns up, who's going to fight for the last 6 games of the season, and that if we don't, then that will tell us well a lot about who should be there next season. But no, I think it's all about us now. Like Kilmarnock away shouldn't phase us at this stage of the season. We should be out to win every game, regardless of who it is. And prove we deserve a future at the club for next season as well. So no, I think it's all about us, Phil, between now and end of the season.
Like, no, definitely.
It should be.
And Gary Brown's asking in the chat, and it's a fair question to say it. Can Rangers win all their games? Obviously, I'm under the assumption that they'll win all the games outside of the one against us, because I always treat it that just always think that they'll get the points, so we don't get complacent. It would be a bonus, obviously, if they could drop some points somewhere. They did have an unexpected loss to Motherwell recently, which nobody saw coming. Just a shame we couldn't capitalise on it the next day. So there is a vulnerability there, and you like to think with them being in a situation that, let's be honest, they're not used to, right? They haven't been in these types of title races for a good while now. You'd like to think that maybe nerves could kick in somewhere and they could slip up, because again, I think in the games that we've played them this season, I think we've been the better team for the most part, apart from the second half last week. I think overall we've dealt with them pretty well, so I don't think they're an outstanding side. But yeah, we do. It would be ideal if another team could just take some sort of points off them, just to ease it, make it a lot, not easier for us, but just a little bit of comfort, just a wee cushion for us, just to relieve the tension a tad. But yeah, Liam, in terms of that, I say if that ends up being the 5 fixtures, is it again you're thinking, Michael's right in what he's saying. Kilmarnock away shouldn't be a worry for us. I know this season we've had some shockers down there, but now is the time, man. Now is surely the time. It's like, Kilmarnock, are you kidding me? Derek McInnes. How many times, Liam, did Brendan Rodgers slap around Derek McInnes in his first spell as Celtic manager? It became a running joke about how easy it was against him. The only time he ever lost him was conveniently a day where if Aberdeen won, they would finish second ahead of Rangers, and as fate would have it, they actually won that day. Imagine that. But yeah, it was suspicious. But overall, again, nothing to fear there, Liam, really.
Nothing to fear but the referees.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's the factor.
It's all in their hands. But is it all in their hands? Because VAR and the referees, and we've seen what happened in that first half, despite us coming out flying and having so much of the ball, we still had 20 fouls called against us. I think before they had a foul against them or something, or, and they hardly touched the ball, and yet we were getting jumped, we were getting, bodied off the ball. Guys were just jumping on the ball and grabbing it. So those patterns of staunchness or assistance, whatever we're calling it these days, I don't know. It depends how much that's going to have to be a part of this title race. We really thought that, okay, well, John Beaton, and I'm pissed at Brendan for coming out with this patter that this guy's an outstanding referee, because he's not been. And all you have to do is look at his highlight reel and see some of the stuff that he's been involved in is sketchy as fuck, or just really, really poor refereeing. So calling him one of the best referees in the league, I think that was stupid on his part, because now you can't criticise him, or Brendan can't criticise him at that point. And I think after what was on display there on Sunday, because you see some of the guys that broke it down, like the fouls in the first half particularly, there was patterns of assistance there. And that's going to become the buzzword, I think, for this season. It's like VAR was this year, possible VAR check. Yeah, I'm not confident. I think with all the eyes on us and all the eyes on Beaton, to still referee and change your mind about goals and the Fabio Silva shite and all that stuff that was going on there, to still be as blatant about it when all eyes are upon you, what is it going to be like when you're under less scrutiny? You know, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's on VAR when they come to Celtic Park, because I don't know, they would have been out calling that stuff out. They've come out for a lot less than that. And I know that we need to be running and telling and all that sort of stuff. But you know what? You need to point it out. If it's wrong, it's wrong. You know, and there's a lot of money on the line, and a lot of businesses and a lot of people's livelihoods as well that get impacted by, you know, a team winning the league. So, yeah, that's the one thing I'm just not as comfortable with, knowing that there could be one of these crazy VAR calls could cost us the season, because we've left it and we've made it that tight a race, you know. And sorry, there were some people on earlier talking about negativity and that tonight. It's a fucking Celtics podcast, man. 63-year-old. Of course I'm going to be negative near the game when we drop shit like that. It's a football podcast, for fuck's sake. Watch fucking Coronation Street. You want to be cheered up.
I'm pretty sure between the three of us, we've consistently said tonight that we should be beating St Mirren. You know, like, if we can't beat St Mirren, then, you know, we don't deserve the title, because we should be blowing them aside tomorrow, regardless of who plays. So I think, you know, if we came in and said, oh, St Mirren, we're going to get a draw tomorrow, I'm worried we're going to lose tomorrow, I could understand that if you're saying that. But no, we've been quite consistent in saying that we should be blowing St Mirren aside tomorrow. And that's what I fully expect, because it came to that time, guys. Predictions, because we're coming up to the end of the show. So yeah, I do think we will get. I'll go for a routine 2-0 win. A wee cheeky 2-0, just simple, no fuss. A goal in each half. I'll say you'll actually get a goal in the second half, because the first half we usually do okay. Second half will be that drop. No, I think we'll deal with them okay. A 2-0 victory. All we need is the points at this stage. Obviously, it'd be advantageous to get as many goals on the board as well, because there could be a scenario where it could come down to goal difference. But ultimately, points first on the board. So I'll go for 2-0 to Celtic. Michael, yourself?
If we get an early goal, I think it could be 3-4-0. But we struggle on games when we don't get the early goal. That tends to be the games we struggle on. If teams sit with a low block, we struggle to break teams down. But no, I'm confident for tomorrow, to be honest. I would say, well, 3-0 at least tomorrow. We'll go first goal again.
Nice one. And Liam, Greg Taylor hat-trick coming tomorrow. You've said Greg Taylor hat-trick a few times. Is it coming tomorrow?
I'm a Celtic supporter. Of course, I'd love to see a Greg Taylor hat-trick. I'd be cheering every goal, just like everybody else. I think he'll just get a single tomorrow. I think it'll be 3-1, and Greg Taylor will get the first goal. He'll turn around, he'll t-shirt with me on it, and go back and fight.
We scored against St Mirren the last time when we played them in Paisley and did the fingers in the ears service. So quite a picture of you, the fingers in the ears. Aye, you could do that. But yeah, a few people in the chat coming in and saying that. Saying that GG saying 3-0 with 2 chopped off. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. I've seen that many times this season. The VAR when you're in the stadium, it's just it's horrendous, man. Horrendous. 4-0, you've got a 3-1. Yeah, it's looking like, convinced there's another 4-0 there from Patrick McLaughlin. But yeah, we will we'll head off, folks, because that's us coming up to the hour. It's flew in again. Michael, thanks for joining us. We didn't scare you off after last week. So it's nice to drop by again and give us your thoughts on it all. And yeah, Liam, as always, pleasure on a Friday night. So Liam, you enjoy the rest of your day. You've still got your 8 hours behind us, the whole day ahead of you.
Yeah.
And for everyone that's going to the game tomorrow, or however you watch it, enjoy it. Hopefully another Celtic victory on the board, because only at this time, only 6 of the best will do for Celtic heading towards the conclusion of the title race. So thanks everybody for watching, and we shall catch you later. See yous.